Hello, Warriors. This is a special edition of TradeGateHub.com. I wanted to address some things that I saw manifest by the end of the week. You can, when the dust settles, you can get some feeling for direction and what you thought the market should do and what the market did do. So when I look at last Friday's close last weekend, I thought 4,200 was going to be a layup. And you know what? It should have been. Yields have been dropping, right? We had, the 10-year fall pretty good this week. It's trying to bounce here, but, pretty good decline uh, into here, trying to hold support. You had two benign inflation reports that the market made a little hay out of. So when I look at the daily, 4,200 is looking less likely. A lot of people start getting bearish under 40.40. I also want to point out that on a weekly basis, which is now lower on the week, if you count back two candles, the close was 41.71. It's the first 2-week reversal we've had in some time. I'll keep building the case. The dollar has bottomed. I did think that the dollar was going to have one more wash to the downside, and they tried it again earlier in the week and held, and now we're cracking above this 102 level. I think we're on our way to much higher levels, for sure over this high, and possibly we look at 110 in the next several months, maybe into the summer or fall. So I think the dollar is headed higher. That's part of the case. Also, for people that had FOMO about gold and FOMO about silver, and I said, just be patient, let it come to you. Well, you know what? It's coming to you. And if we have risk off, it'll come to you even faster. Put out some tweets and charts about the silver shares really leading the way down. We had this big down day before silver's last 2-day crack. So I didn't think we'd be at these levels in these silver shares until we were at about $22 silver, which is what I'm looking for. Extreme case, $20 silver. Also, take a look at copper. They say that all bull markets are roofed in copper. Dr. Copper's trying to bounce today, but he had a big breakdown. We could never get back over 4. I think we're headed to at least 350. Not a great sign of economic strength either. You look at the most owned stock, and I'm still short Apple through puts, and they had what was construed as a very bullish earnings report last Thursday. So here's last Thursday. So if you bought the news last Thursday, a whole week later, you're even. Okay, Apple did not blow out the divergences. The semiconductors really did nothing this week. They continue to look weak as well. So, that's a leading group. I talked about Bitcoin topping over 30,000. That's risk off happening in Bitcoin. Looks like a breakdown of a head and shoulders top. I know I'm forgetting some things, but there's so many pieces of evidence that say that the market is vulnerable. I also want to make a statement here that I will reinforce on social media. Should this crash occur in mid-July, I interviewed a gentleman named Francis Boussier, who uses a lot of astro work, and sadly, Francis passed away from liver cancer a couple months ago, and his last writings were about a low in March in the S&P, followed by a July crash. So here was your March low. He was right on time. It was at the 3,800 level. So we've been rallying for a few months, almost back to, took out these highs, and he's looking for a crash into July. So in his last days, although feeling very ill, can you imagine? I had to go through chemo and radiation in my life, but you don't feel great. And it was so important to him to get this message out to his followers and people that followed his work. And he was so passionate about it that he said, I don't think I'm going to make it, but the crash is in July. So, Francis, your work carries on. We'll see if this forecast comes home, but should it happen to me, it will always be known as the Francis Bussier crash. Have a great weekend, everyone. I wanted to do this on Friday so you have the weekend to think about some of the things I've talked about without making any rush moves or panic moves. Be thoughtful and protect yourself. And most of all, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, and I'll see you in the room.